έχουμε και θέση εδώ μπροστά, ποιος θέλει. Είμαστε έτοιμοι σχεδόν να ξεκινήσουμε. Λοιπόν, καλησπέρα. Έλα να μας πεις ένα γεια. Εντάξει, δεν θέλει. Λοιπόν, καλησπέρα παιδιά. Καταρχήν να σας ευχαριστήσω που ήρθατε. Είμαι ο Γιάννης Κουδάνης. Σας καλωσορίζουμε στο πρώτο ακαδημαϊκό έτος του 2025-2026 Meetup της χρονιάς. Έχουμε και do we have people that don't speak Greek? One, two, okay. I will switch to English. Okay, no problem. So you're welcome, of course. I welcome you to Thessaloniki software testing and QA Meetup, the first of the year. So I want to thank you everyone that you spent this evening here with us today. We have two interesting presentations to show. We will have presentations from our sponsors and of course behind the scenes, without them this event would not happen. So thank you very much to our sponsors. And I would say that we are open, some news for us, we are open for call for papers to come to present something here. It doesn't matter that you have no experience of that, like you want to share something that you faced on your daily job or something like that. You are very welcome. This is, as you know, a local meetup. We are about to have another one, I think, before Christmas, and of course after the next year. So, what else? First of all, I want to welcome Norris to give us a presentation. Norris is a local here from Thessaloniki. So, I will give you the microphone. The stage is yours.
I'll try to switch to English so everybody can understand me. So, my name is Romanos Nianios. I'm the IT manager for Norris Mike, and today I'll speak to you about how Norris Mike can support you in digitalization and business growth. So, a few words about Norris Mike. Norris Mike has been in Greece for more than 8 years. We are 35 people in the company, each one with his own skills, and we provide IT services to our mother company and to Greek customers. These services can be anything from IT operations to software development, DevOps, and anything in between. We are certified with ISO 27001 and 9001, and recently we launched our own cloud services under the umbrella of nCloud, and I'll speak about them a little bit later. And a few words about our mother company. It was founded in 1993, so it's more than 30 years in operation, and they own 8 state-of-the-art data centers, Tier 3 and Tier 4, mostly on the southern region of Germany, in Nuremberg, Berlin, Hof, and other locations. It provides enterprise IT solutions to enterprise customers, so that means automotive industry, financial sector, and other sectors that need compliance and heavily regulated environments. And it's also certified with many ISOs around data security and services provided to end customers. So that includes ISO 27001, 9001, and other related certifications. So today, as I said before, we'll speak about nCloud services and ServiceNow services that we provide with our mother company. So when we wanted to introduce the nCloud service to the Greek market, what we wanted to bring was the best practices from the mother company, from the German company to the Greek market. So best practice and security to the Greek market. And to achieve that, in each step of the implementation and design of those services, we heavily emphasized into security in order to keep the services and the data of each tenant secure. And how did we do that? Especially, let's say, if we go to the network level, let's say each tenant is in its own VLAN, and that means that on every level, from the hypervisor to the application level, we have similar configuration and policies in order to achieve that security level. And why we want to do that? It's because we want our customers to trust us to host for them their critical applications, such as ERP and CRM services, or to trust us to get the hosted services that we provide as mail servers and web servers. We have completed more or less, probably more than 100 successful projects with our mother company, and we try to provide services that are reliable, that are secure, and always available. And we try to provide end-to-end IT services. And what end-to-end means in this occasion? End-to-end means that they don't just run, that they're available each time the customer wants to access them. And how we do that? We do that by being available 24/7 via our ITIL V4 trained personnel, with our real-time monitoring, and with our ITSM processes. And we encompass all that with extra services like patch management, backup and recovery, capacity planning, performance optimization, in order to keep those services being secure, available, expandable, and everything that the customer would like from those cloud services. And a few words about ServiceNow services. Our mother company, Norris Network AG, is one of the few providers that can actually host ServiceNow platform on premises, because it's a software as a service, in its own state-of-the-art data center, which is highly reliable, highly secure. They are data protection compliant and ISO certified. We already have customers on this platform, and from Norris and Mike, we support them in admin, dev, and operations with 3 squads that we have from the Greek side. And we are also partners with ServiceNow in the service provider, in reselling, implementation, and consulting as a partners. And that's all for today. Performance Beyond Standard from Norris Mike. If you have any questions, you can find me or Stelios in the area, and we can answer any questions. That's all.
Thank you very much. So, the next one is a company here. It's a next company. So, I will call Barbara to do the presentation.
Καλύτερα από στα αγγλικά.
Καλύτερα στα αγγλικά.
Ναι. Πιο εύκολα. Πάω λίγο έξω. Σας ενοχλώ, λέτε τα εσωτερικά σας.
Ξεκινήσαμε εμείς, κάτσε. Πάμε να ξεκινήσουμε. Θα βγάλουμε φωτογραφία και θα...
Δεν έχεις καιρό να το κάνεις, το κάνω κι εγώ.
Γρήγορα. Ήταν στο 5 λεπτό και όσες φορές με χρονομέτρησα ήμουν...
feel like, not only feel like a team in the products or the project, but also in the testing service center.
Με βόλεψε όμως που την έκανε στα αγγλικά. Στα ελληνικά δεν μπορώ. Δεν μπορώ.
This is
Ψάχνω να δω
our
πώς μεταφράζω τη
building
λέξη
in
και
Athens,
δεν
one of
έρχομαι.
the three that we have. This is in Marousi. And we are part of net company. The previous name that our company had was Indrasoft, but now we are, let's say, a united company with net company. These are our main locations and the offices we have around the world, but there are a lot of colleagues that work remotely from different places all over the world. If we can divide our project and products into units, we can imagine three big business units. One for EU institutions, like Taxud, Taxonomies, EU IPO, EU LISA, etc. National domains, for example, in Greek, EFKA, etc. But not only for Greek, but for multiple countries. And also for enterprise customers like Cosmote, for example, or Vodafone. Here we have some key clients in the various industries that I already told you. And let's talk about STSE in more detail. We are one independent test team. We have one mission to improve the software quality across all the domains that already said. And we are 240 members, test analyst and test engineer, but as we can imagine, we don't have only test analyst and test engineer, we have also team leaders, senior team leaders, test managers, service managers, director. The majority of us were ISTQB certified members, and the rest of KPIs are also important, but I will skip them. Here we have the test type and test tools that we use, and I can say that we use almost every tool that exists, but not in enterprise market, but not only in enterprise, but we have also custom tools because every client needs different tools or can ask for any type of testing. This does not mean that each one of us will work with all of them, but we can ask in our manager in order to relocate or see new technologies. Here we have some of our activities that we do in our everyday life. There are two main roles in our team and a hybrid one. And also there is a continual learning approach. We have some internal ISTQB training programs and some Oracle Java training programs that we have prepared as team leaders for our people. And we try to repeat these training programs every 2 or 3 months in order everyone can obtain a certificate. I skip a lot of content in the presentation because I would like also to mention some extra details about some activities that I'm working right now. Apart from the project, we have some AI collaboration with AI activities in collaboration with R&D project team in the company, and we try to not only use AI tools in our everyday task, but we also try to create custom tools like an IntelliJ plugin that can produce automated processes for our projects and products in order to, let's say, hyper-automate some of our flows. Thank you for your attention. Do you have any questions?
Thank you, Laura. And thank you to the company that support us. So, the next one, our co-organizer is test manager in job here in Greece, and today we present the hot thing in everywhere, AI. So, welcome, Konstantinos Loupos.
You pronounce the name really, really good, Yanni. It's Chab. Αυτό. Okay. Πώς το έχει κάνει τώρα. Για να πώς το κάνουμε extend, ρε. Appearance. Desktop. Εδώ. Display. Okay. Hello, everyone. Okay, this was fast. What? Can we make it smaller? The camera? Why not? Open a service now ticket and we'll fix it. Okay, so, I think it's good. So, you see the topic. It's a hot topic, if I may say. We hear AI everywhere. So, this specific presentation will be mainly focusing on agentic AI. I don't know if you have seen, I'm pretty sure that you have seen some videos out there, some posts in LinkedIn. This works? No. Okay, so at the end of this presentation, I'll try to give you some information on what is agentic AI, how we can apply and we can use it in our everyday work as quality engineers, and of course to all understand why agentic AI and AI in general in quality engineering is really, really useful and it will help us in our everyday lives. Before we start, the title is Agents. Can anyone tell me what agent is? And not those agents. An AI agent, probably. Does anyone knows? Raise your hand. Yes.
Like a system can work. I can't explain that in details.
Can you put it closer?
It's like a system that works with LLM. It can translate some commands from user with LLM to code, and it can use some tools. It has tools which it can use tools to provide some answers, results, and etc. And it can communicate with these tools, like analyzing what it receives from tools, checking the result. If not enough, use tools again and repeat the process again. When result will be okay, it can be received to user.
Really good. Χειροκρότημα παρακαλώ. Really nice, yes. So it is not Agent Smith or Praktor Astuvou, if you know him. Based of the Anthropic, OpenAI, an agent is a system that does something for you on your behalf. So in more simple terms, it's a software that we tell it what to do, and this software decides and acts on our behalf, with us giving the direction. As you see here, I would only love to use that. So this is a diagram. It is how an agent works. So if you see the middle, it is the agent, it is the decision maker, is the tool that decides what needs to be done. And we have a goal here. This is ourselves. So we have a goal. Let's say, an example, build a web app or test something. This is an input for the agent, and then the AI agent does some gather some information. This can be some files to your computer. It can be a web search. It can be some additional instruction that we give to the agent. And based on this, it does some actions. It can write some code. It can create an application. It can do something in your computer. So it acts on our behalf based on what we have provided as a goal. And of course, this is the autonomous loop, meaning that it tries many times in order to finally to do what is expected to do, what is the final outcome. So we always have a demo at the end, so you will better understand. So some examples, just to make it more clear what is the agent. A simple example would be if we can ask, for example, if we had a simple application, we can probably ask what is the weather, and based on the outcome, we can decide if we can take an umbrella or not. So if we're using an AI agent, the agent will be responsible to gather some weather data, and then send us, for example, a message or an email saying that today it's going to rain, take your umbrella. This is some simple example, and of course, some more complex is that we ask an agent that we want to build an application. So in that case, an agent breaks what needs to be done, breaks in different tasks, all the tasks that need to be done in order to build this application, and it starts writing some code. It starts writing some code. This is the button. Yes, this one. It breaks into subtasks. It writes some files. It writes the code. It tests the code, and it starts iterating until the app is ready. And of course, this can be done only with the decision that we have, meaning that we say that build an app until, for example, you have an input form, something like that, and this tries and develop this application. Now someone will come and say, okay, we have traditional test automation. Why should we use AI test automation? There are many benefits around that. So as you see here, there is much information, to be honest. So I would like to state some characteristics of traditional test automation, which is the manual maintenance. So in case if we are doing traditional test automation, we'll have some scripts and we need to go and, whenever we have a change, we go and update those scripts. So we have some repetitive tasks that we need to do. Γιώργο. Λίγο ησυχία. Ευχαριστώ. So we have repetitive tasks, and there are cases where the maintenance is really, really high. Imagine, for example, having 1,000 test cases in your framework, and you have a change that you need to change all those scripts by hand. So when we have AI, in order to do some test automation, things are more simpler. So we have some intelligent decision-making, meaning that the agent and the AI can understand what needs to be changed, and it goes and updates the scripts and does all the work for us. We can use natural language, meaning that we say, create a test case in order to do something, and the test case is being created. We have predictive analysis, so the AI agent can gather all the information and can do some predictions. So, for example, what test cases we have missed, what are some edge test cases that we need to cover. And a big advantage of all these processes is that we have reduced maintenance, so we don't need to go and change by hand 1,000 test cases. We leave the agent and the AI to do so. And everything is faster, it is easier to maintain. We have a better testing coverage because we are humans, and probably there are some cases where we cannot find some edge test cases. So AI help us on that, the agents. And what is missing there is the value proposition, what is the actual value. And it says that we have cost savings in both cases, both in test automation, in traditional test automation and AI, but we also have intelligence and autonomy. So autonomy, yes, if I can pronounce it well. So autonomy meaning that we say the agent to do something and we expect to do it. Just a general example how it works. So we have here the user, in the middle it is the AI agent, we have the user, so it is us who gives the instruction, gives them a prompt, and we have a template, meaning something that we need, something that the agent should understand. The agent then connects with an LLM. LLM is a large language model, so it is a model that can understand human language and do some generate some information. We have some tools that we can use. Oh, again, this is wrong. We have some tools here. It can be a web search, a file search or edit a file, an MCP server or whatever. And of course, we have a memory. It is a place where the agent knows the business and understands what needs to be done. So whenever we have a user prompt, the user asks the agent to do something. The agent is responsible to interact with those systems, with the LLMs, to get the prompt template, to find the right tool, and to search inside its memory in order to give us a response back, which can be test cases, can be a test analysis, can be a test plan, can be whatever. And of course, as you saw previously, everything starts with a prompt. So the user here, sends a prompt to the AI agent. This means that we need to write good prompts. If you haven't used prompt programming, it's really important. It is a starting point where you need to interact with an LLM. So here are some examples. So instead of writing, saying test this, we need to give more details to the agent with our prompts, meaning that we need to say that write some regression test cases in order to verify my application, and use Playwright and TypeScript in order to write the test cases. Or write some YAML files for GitHub Actions. This is not correct, so you need to give details. So for example, use all the best practices that my company has regarding CI/CD and create some YAML files in order to deploy my application or to test my application with GitHub Actions. And the last one is write a checklist. We can better say that generate a checklist in order to check what are the automated test cases that I need to create, for example. And before this is merged into my code base. So you all understand that a good prompt, it is a good start for the agent in order to be able to understand what needs to be done and what is the outcome of the prompt. Any questions so far? Something that you would like to ask? Because I would like to change to show you an example. Yes?
What are the prompt templates? You have shown on your slide the prompt templates, so the user is setting prompts.
Yes.
But what are the prompt templates? How are they used?
Actually, prompt template is a file where you can have stored inside your code base, inside your test cases, and is a way that you can create different templates in order to cover different tasks. So you can have a detailed template saying that I use one template in order to generate some test cases. You have all the details inside this template, and then this is fed to the agent. So you can use then the prompt saying that use that template that creates some test cases and do something. So it is a way to have a more detailed specifications, if I may say. Anyone else? Don't be shy. No? Yes, Manu?
How do you get better at prompt engineering? That's just practice, again and again and again, because, the bad example is write some YAML files for and how do you reach from that to the good example?
Yeah, of course there are trainings, many trainings are there, how to do prompt programming. But if you practice, you will understand that if you write 2 words, the result will be totally different than writing a detailed prompt. So you see the outcome. You need to verify the outcome. That's what Agentic AI does. The agent creates something, and you need to verify that everything is good. So there will be always the human factor, the human who reviews the outcome. And based on that, you can say that, yes, now I'm done, I have gone to a specific goal and I'm good. Yes?
Maybe we should clarify that if you want a specific result, you need to be specific as well.
Yes.
If you write something generic, you get something.
Exactly. As an example, if you have, for example, an agent saying that create some test cases, the agent will go and it will create locally in a folder called Babis. I don't know why I thought about Babis. But if I want to give him specific information, I could say create test cases and store them in a folder called Manos. So it will know where exactly those test cases will be created and will be generated. So we need to be precise. What are the expectations? What we expect to have as an outcome from our prompt? Anyone else? Yes. Yeah. The context, you mean the business logic? There are ways to do it. There are some MCP servers where you can have a memory from your agent. So whatever you write, you have your history. This is stored somewhere inside your PC. But there are also cases where you can have the prompts stored in empty files. So whenever you write something, you can tell the agent to, if I write a prompt, store those prompt in a specific folder, in a specific file. So you have some way of a history of what you requested from the agent. I'm not talking about business logic and the business of an application. I'm just talking about prompts. what you have used as history. And also all the tools that are out there, they have a history. So you can say, go go to Friday, for example, find all the prompts that I've used and store them in a file. This can be done. Yes?
So we have created a plugin in Jira, so it's using the information from stories, epics, all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Now we want to see if we need more information from the code base. Combine these. Do you think that's a good idea? Have you tried it? All the context to increase to get a better outcome. And once that's done, is it possible also to retrain every time you get the output? Do some modification and then force to learn the agent. So next time when you ask, you can give a better outcome.
Yeah, actually, if you can feed the agent with more information, it's really, really useful because it knows better your application and your business logic. So if you have a way to get all the information from Jira and also have in another place to have an architectural diagram or the technology behind your application, and you can say that if you want to create some API test cases, go in that folder where I have all my empty files, where I have all my logic of the architectural logic, and read this information and try and create some test cases. If you run one test case without this logic, without this knowledge, and write another test case with this logic included in the agent, you will see totally different results. So it is a matter you need to say, to give the agent the information where exactly it needs to find, in which specific location. It can be Jira, it can be MD files, it can be a database probably, it can be whatever. If you feed more information, it will be more intelligent in a way.
Just one quick one also. There are a lot of stories requirements which are just UI design, but it's just maybe Figma screenshots and that's it.
Mm-hmm.
So can agent understand the screenshots and provide you some test cases from that?
Yes, visual testing is an easy one for an agent, but there are also some MCP servers. MCP servers is a common language where you can interact with different APIs and different applications. So there is an MCP server that interacts with Jira, with Figma. So you can connect your tool, Claude or Gemini or whatever, to use this MCP server, and it can download the Figma image from your account. It can translate this image into test cases. So there are ways to interact with different things. And if you search in the internet, you can find thousands of MCP servers where you can use for GitHub, Jira, everything, almost everything. Yes?
Hello. How can we host it in our device, like a service or like Claude, and how can interact straight with our suite? Also, is there any middle stage of the agent that applied the changes in our suite that we can review them? Also, it has to know our structure, our project structure, our project suite. How does it know all this? It runs like a service or like Claude?
If you can wait 2 minutes, I can show you a real example with Claude. But just to give you an overview, usually all those tools, when we have a code base in RPC, and we ask a tool like Claude, because I have Claude here and I will show you. And if we ask Claude that go in that folder and do an analysis what is in there and what are the test cases, Claude can go and identify all the technical information of my folder, what is being included, if it is Playwright or Cypress or Selenium. It can find my test cases, where they are located. So next time that I'm gonna ask him, I don't know why it is a man, ask it probably. If I'm gonna ask it, create some test cases, it will identify where is the location of my test cases, how are they written, if it is plain Java or if it is Cucumber or feature files probably. And it can identify, based on what it has understand from my project, what needs to be done and what is located where inside my folder.
Also, Claude has a feature of texting the code in a different repo, a different feature in our Git.
Mm-hmm.
We want to merge it. We can review it before, but can we change this agent to do more combined stuff?
To do more?
To write in our maybe not in a different feature or a different repo, straight our code with comment type.
Yes, this comes the prompting. So if you ask Claude to do this specific task, it will identify what needs to be done and where. But you need to be precise what exactly you want to do. So instead of saying that create some feature file, you can say go to this file and change that one and replace with that work and find everywhere. If you find, for example, the name Varvara, go and replace it and put George, for example. It is just the way you do your prompting. All the tools are there, almost everything, almost all the tools do the same work. But you need to be precise, independent of the tool, you need to be precise what exactly you want. Okay, Γιάννη, πόση ώρα έχω? 5 λεπτά. Πάμε γρήγορα. Okay. Then I'll try to be fast. So I have a project here. Okay, so I have a project here. Actually, let me open this one. I have an application here. It is a simple book search. It is a simple form that calls some API, some Google Books API. So if I want to search something, Lord, and I click search. Δεν έχω internet.
Πρέπει να το σκανάρεις ή να πληκτρολογείς αυτό.
Να το πάμε, sorry. Sorry, παιδιά. This happens in live sessions. Why it is so difficult? It's... Is anyone from Deutsche here to change the password? I think they're in the Cosmote. So it's BVN P1Z. Okay, so I search for something, I click search and I have some results. If I go there, if I go to my code, I can see here that I have my code, I have some feature files, I have a folder called Playwright with some test cases here, and I also have here in my command line, I have Claude Code. Claude Code is a tool that you can use in order to, it's really good for generating test cases and code in general. So if I go here and I ask agents, it will return a list of agents that I have created. So you can see here that I have an agent called Business Analyst Requirements. I have an agent called UI Developer, it's named Tassos. I have a test engineer, which is Babis, and also Maria, who is a test analyst. This, because we are talking about context, if I go here in my application, in my folder, and I go here in the Claude folder, and let's say I'm going here, you will see that this is an empty file. I don't know how clear you can see it. And if I scroll down this empty file, I can see information about the agent. This agent, imagine that it is a real person with some specific capabilities. So we describe all these capabilities and the skills of a user, let's say, and we document it in an empty file. So here we can say that the full stack developer, which is now Tassos, is is an expert in development, and he can do some requirement analysis, effort estimation, end-to-end software development, and has some specific capabilities, core capabilities, effort estimation and stuff, specific details. This is, imagine it is a UI developer profile, right, in your company. Okay, I also have a playwright, a test engineer, and also a test analyst. Okay, because we don't have time, I'm going to use only this one. So what I can do with Claude, I can go and I can say here that I have my application. I can go and I can write a prompt. So, I don't know if it is small, I don't know if I can make it bigger. Why it is yellow?
Δεν ξέρω, άλλαξε. Πρέπει να είναι το...
No. Do you see it well? Probably not. Would you like to do it white? It's better? Okay. So what I can do now, I can go and I can write a prompt. It is like I'm a radio producer. I like it. So I can go and I can say, loans, the agent called Tassos developer, and change the button from what we have here. We have clear. From clear to delete. I'm just giving a prompt. So I'm detailed. I say that use a specific agent, the one that I've showed you, which is the developer, and I give him specific information. Go into my code and change the button from clear to delete, and I click enter. So what it does right now, Claude already knows my code. It knows what is the information that I have in my code. You see here that it identified that I'm going to use the developer to do this change. And now it starts and searches in my code base in order to see what exactly needs to be changed. So here it takes some time. This symbol that it moves, it says that it's searching for something. And now it starts finding specific information, and it says, should I change the book result? The book search HTML, I say yes. And now it starts and searches all my files in order to identify what needs to be changed. So it goes to the next file. It will search HTML, CSS, it will search all my code base, everything, and it will make the change. So now it says that the button has changed from clear to delete by this agent, and everything it's changed, and now my application is up and running. So I expect if I click, okay, this is already refreshed. So you see here that we have a delete button here. So the clear that was done previously, now it is delete. Just because I think I don't have much time, I can say, and I will have this in order to finish, I can say that using the test, using Maria agent, create some test cases for the new button named delete. So I will call the other agent, the agent which is the agent Maria, the one that it does the test analysis, and Maria will go and identify the change, and she will create, because it's Maria, she will create some test cases, some feature files, because inside the empty file I've said that Maria can write cucumber files, so knows cucumber. So it's gonna read my code, and it will generate some feature files. Probably this will take some time, but what I expect to see here is that, and with this, John, I'm closing, Inside the playwright, inside the test cases, I expect to see something here. The correct prompt will be to tell the agent that go into the playwright folder and create some feature files, but let's see what it will do. It found some existing test cases, some feature files here. So, no, haven't found anything. Okay, so you want to create a feature file. I say yes. And if I come here, okay, it created another one. Because I didn't tell to go to the playwright folder, it went and created some feature file in the root folder. Okay, no big deal. So if you see here, based on the change that we have done in the functionality, it created some test cases, which if you do a review, it's really, really good. It tests the functionalities. It also added some tagging here, so it can identify that this test case is considered a smoke test. And also some test cases that are for regression purposes. And I don't know, it also creates more test cases here. So it generated another one where it verifies also with specific data, with different functionality. Some test cases that are considered as edge test cases, and so on and so forth. So you see that it creates many files here. It can be not only functional, but it can also create some accessibility, some performance, or whatever. So this is the analysis. So we use an agent to generate those feature files, and as a next step, imagine having another agent where it can get this feature file, it can actually generate some testing code, some playwright code, or Cypress. So we have, as you saw, using agents, we made a change in the application, so we acted as developers. We created some test case, we did some test analysis, so we created some test cases based on the functionality, and we can extend as much as we can depending on the project need, of our needs, of the team, of the company. And you see that the result is really, really fast. Imagine, for example, trying to do all this analysis on your own. It will take, for example, minimum 2-3 days to analyze all those cases. And you see that now it generated almost in 2 minutes, let's say. Yes, Costa?
If you execute again, Maria, is there any possibility you will receive similar feature files? Not exactly the same, but similar?
Don't know.
So, I mean, if you execute them 10 times, will it stop generating, or will you get files that...
I think that, I haven't tried to be honest, but I think that if you have a detailed prompt and you run the same prompt again, you will get the same results. But if you create some edge test cases for the button, it will search further and will create more test cases.
Certainly will change the prompt, you will get something different, but executing the same prompt again and again. Because
I've seen some cases where with the same prompt it generates something not totally different, but it uses another different logic in order to generate an outcome. So yes, it will generate something different. Yes?
LLMs are non-deterministic. That means that even if you give the same input, it will never give the exact same output. So it always changes.
Yes.
It might be the word in the phrase, but not the same. It will generate new ones. And because, for example, one word has changed, it will identify it as a new test case. A change test case, and it will suggest you to replace it or add it.
But it can be pretty, right? You change the existing.
Yes, but to what extent can it understand that it is different? I mean, one word is different. Is it the same test case or not? Two words are different. Is it the same test case or not? So
It should go by logic.
You change the word.
On testing, it should go by logic. So
Yes.
I was not worried about that, right?
No. Yes. You can, in our company also we're exploring about how we can use Claude. Okay, in our company we're also exploring, I mean, not us as the testing, but the DevOps team, how to use it in order to do deployments and what needs to be verified before we have a deployment of an application. The business teams are doing some exercises to identify how they can generate test case, how they can analyze the requirements and create some stories and epics and stuff. So it can be used almost everywhere. But it's really important to have an overview. I mean, the human to be able to review and understand what's happening. So if you ask Claude that create some playwright test case and you don't know any TypeScript or playwright and you know HTML, okay, you will not be able to verify the quality of the outcome, if it is correct or not. So we need to stay skilled in a way. We are becoming more not dumb. Yes, I can say dumb in a way, but we are more productive. But we need to verify exactly what is generated by the tools. Yes, Mikhail?
A quick question. So the verification itself, does it take much effort? Because according to my experience, sometimes verification and error correction takes much more time and efforts than executing Maria or Pados or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So, and sometimes it's really hard to find the problems within the test cases or the code. How do you deal with that? So, what is the balance between productivity by executing agents and correcting their errors? And what is the error rate in your experience?
I will give you an example with Claude. So there are cases when you're trying, I mean, we have time, we could see that one. So if I say that create some playwright test cases and execute them, the tool will try and write the test cases with TypeScript, and it will try to execute those test cases. If the test case is failing, it will try again. So even though there are some issues, some bugs, let's say, or the code is not written correctly, the Claude will try and find the issue, what is failing, and it will try to run again and fix the code. The same comes for the developers. If you're talking also about how we debug the test cases.
I mean not the errors in the code. The code might be correct, but the test case logic might be wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Because, yeah, the AI cannot...
Yeah, then it's up to you to see if you have some test case generated that it is what you expect. It is based on the structure that you have created, that you have set and you are using. It is based on the best practices that you are using in your company. So if you teach, let's say, those tools in order to identify what are the best practices, it can create a better quality code. So you will spend less time to find the bugs and what needs to be changed from your side. But you need to feed also the information of your company's best practices or your team best practices inside the code.
Thank you.
Welcome. Yes? You can create an agent for end-to-end test cases if you like. If I will go to the Agentic AI, we are using an agent called end-to-end, which is responsible specifically for UI and API. So we have fed all this information inside this agent. So we are using, whenever we want to do some end-to-end test case, we use a specific agent. We're not using, actually, it is in the plan to use it, that only focuses on UI and API. If you are talking about end-to-end, meaning that I'm starting from a mainframe application, and then I go to an Angular application, then I go back to another mainframe application, this cannot be done because the tool cannot interact with mainframe application. But you can teach your agent, you can give him specific guides how to interact with a mainframe application, and then with the same agent to do some kind of end-to-end testing. Thank you. Yes? La Maria.
Is it possible, instead of having many different agents, just have one and say you are an expert in test analysis, then you are also an expert in development, you are also an expert in, I don't know, test automation, and have just one agent to do everything?
So cost reduction even in agents?
And team reduction in agents. Yes, you can do it if you like. Probably the quality will not be so good because you need to add so much information inside one empty file. And if you would like to spread the agent, to give the agent to different team members, then it's better to have different agents with different roles. So have an end-to-end agent, then to have an accessibility test agent or a performance test agent, and they're mainly focusing on specific part of the application. Whenever you need to use an end-to-end, you use the end-to-end agent. If you want to do performance testing, you are using the performance test agent. And because probably if you keep feeding the agents with more information inside empty files, it will come the time where one agent, one empty file will be 1,000 lines. So also in terms of maintenance, it will be, I think, difficult.
Because Playwright is popular, and if someone wants to, switch from Cypress, for example, an agent help with, changing, for example, Cypress JavaScript to Playwright Java.
Yes, and I can give you an example. Probably we should close. I mean, we can discuss afterwards when we are eating pizzas. I will give you an example just to understand how strong is the tool. We have an application that it is smart. Yes, we have an application which is a Java UI desktop application where you can do some testing with some drop-downs. It is a no-code tool. I will not say names because some people here will not like it. And I would like to see if Claude can translate those logic in Playwright. And I asked Claude, can you find some common methods of this tool, and can you create it to Playwright code? And automatically it found the jar files, decompiled the jar files, found the classes that it was using, and then it got all this logic and created some page objects inside my Playwright. I had to give more details where exactly to find and what I expect to see into the Playwright, but it worked really well. That one was really, really good and really fast. I mean, I've done this in an hour, 1 hour and a half. I had the basic structure of Playwright with all the logic that I got from the jar file. So you can use it however you like. Other question? Yes.
Are there any risks by using AI agents, and or this is something without flaws?
No, there are flaws. The risks are the actual quality of the test case. We have made an exercise where we compared the outcome of an agent, some test cases from the agent, and some test cases that were written by the actual QA team. And what the agent was missing was the business logic. So although the test cases by the QA team were, if I remember, there were 8 test cases, the agent generated 200 test cases, but it didn't contain any basic business logic. So having a comparison of those test cases that was generated by the agent along with the business logic of the QA team, it was the optimal case. So business knowledge is something that probably I assume that it will be fixed in a way. Okay, we'll talk afterwards while we eat pizzas. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Konstantinos. I think the AI triggered the Pandora's box. So everyone wants to know more because there's one fact, we don't know the unknown, right? We try to find out how we can include it my advice to this, and we will do a small break, is to not combine in an agent a developer and a tester. If you do that, the output will be always, it works on my machine or something like that.
We can have the
loop will be
we can have the unit tester.
infinity loop.
We can have the unit tester.
Yeah, the unit tester. We can have the unit tester only. So, a small break for 10 minutes, and we will come back for the second. You can visit the booths over there for our sponsors to talk about the open positions and all of this kind of stuff. Thank you.
Τώρα σε κατάλαβα. Για το που εκτύπωσε τα QR code, ναι. Καλά το θυμάμαι. Ευχαριστώ.
sent us a message to be part of this to talk about one thing. So, Sarah, the stage is yours.
So what is Wality? Wality is a European software company with various projects all around the world. Our goal is to become a trusted partner when it comes to digital solutions. So we have a lot of locations throughout around Europe. We have offices in Greece, in Cyprus, which you cannot see because of the camera, in Spain, the UK, and in Germany. We're involved with a wide variety of projects. You can see some of them here. And because of the wide variety of projects we're involved in, our employees get to experience a lot of different technologies, not just when it comes to testing, but also development, programming languages, development frameworks, testing frameworks, mobile, NPC, and many more. But it's not the skills that our employees get. We also support them in earning certifications that help advance their careers and knowledge. Here you can see some of them. We are partners with ICTB, with the United certification, ServiceNow, and many more. It's not just our employees that get to work and get certifications, though. We are also a training provider, and we provide a lot of testing certifications. These are just the ICTB certification trainings that we offer. You can see the dates and the positions left for some of them. For anyone not familiar with ICTB, someone who doesn't have any certification starts with the ICTB Foundation, and later on they choose a more specialized certification from the list. So you can see all these trainings in wality.com/academy. We also have other types of trainings outside of the ICTB ones. We have the United certifications, which have no prerequisites, and you can immediately go to your targeted skill, whether it's Selenium, DevOps, artificial intelligence, and more. We also provide the Python programming certification, which is fairly new. Of course, we have a lot of open positions that we're interested in finding people and hiring people with the following skills and much more. We will be at the booth if you would like to talk to us, and we would love to hear from you. These positions are all on our website. If anyone wants to check them out later. And that's short and sweet. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you to Savas. Let me check this. No. And the next one we will call Jump, the fourth company that is a sponsor of us. Also, Konstantinos worked on some, as you know. Let me change.
Hello everyone, my name is Konstantinos. I'm here to present SAP. I'm not going to take too much of your time. I don't want to do that.
1 second. Give me 1 second. You know, when something is live, everything happens there, right? So, here you are.
Thank you. So I'm just going to give you a brief of who we are as a company. First of all, Chubb is a multinational insurance company, headquarters in the US. You can say that Chubb is a world leader in insurance. We have more than 40,000 people working around the globe. We have operation in 54 countries, and we have 500 offices worldwide. Something to mention is that Chubb works with more than 98% of Fortune 1000 companies, just to give you a view of the size. And the question is why many people in Greece do not know Chubb. The answer is very simple. Chubb does not operate in Greece as an insurance, and the only reason that Chubb actually came to Greece is to create an IT hub. A few years ago, Chubb came to the decision to convert all the external partners, vendors, to internal staff. So they decided to open up a few technology hubs all over the world, in the US, Greece, Mexico, India, Philippines, Malaysia, Colombia. And what we do here actually is, this is how we started as a bunch of people. The first employees of Chubb were employees of Deloitte, because Deloitte assisted in setting up the office. At the moment, we are counting 390 people, and we keep growing. Why Thessaloniki? Because obviously it's a great place to live. There is an excellent lifestyle, and it is kind of affordable. There is multicultural environment, and also there is a lot of talent, and the universities, they keep producing more and more. Just an example of the positions we have here in Chubb: cloud engineers, security engineers, full stack, UI, business analyst, project management, .NET, Java, data, and of course QA. Why should someone choose to work for Chubb? Here you can see our values and diversity, equity, inclusion. I'm not going to stick to that. If you ask me, I'm going to say that you can choose Chubb because you can develop yourself there. If you are working as a junior, you can learn from great leaders like Konstantinos, for example. If you are a mid-level, you can work with them. If you are a senior, still, there are many challenging projects. It is a multinational company. The scale is quite big. And for example, Konstantinos started in a local role, and now he's working for a global project. It is quite big. Last thing, Chubb proudly supports women in tech. Here is just a picture. We do it through talent acquisition, engagement, development. At the moment, we have 107 female employees, which is a lot for an IT company, and we're very proud of that. Just because we're talking about testing here, this is an overview of where our testing employees are located. In total, we have 648. 371 of them are full-time employees. The rest of them are contractors, and you can see worldwide. If you are interested in exploring opportunities with Chubb, you can scan the QR code, and obviously I will be at the booth, and we can discuss further if you want. Any questions? Again, I'll be at the booth. Thank you very much for your time. Thank you.
So, the second speaker, one of our great supporters of our meetup. I think he missed a few. Just I want to know, I didn't ask one important question. Who is here for the first time? Great. All right. So, some statistics about our meetup. We are about 8 years old, baby. We have about 1,400 members registered in our meetup. So you can learn more about us. We have Facebook, Instagram. You can follow us on Instagram also.
It's a new one. Katerina is, is the social media manager of our meetup. So you can find us there. What is the next topic? Who knows what is a neobank? Do you have Revolut? Who has a Revolut? Okay, the Greek Revolut is here, and the Greek Revolut is here, and Stamatis and Yannis from will be in a phone call. It's a meetup, Teams call. We will talk us about how the QA goes in a neobank environment. So, let me do the switch. Okay.
Sorry
That
for
was
that.
close. It was close to kill me.
Giannis, do you hear us?
Hello, hello. Can you hear me?
Nice. Okay.
Let me
Moment.
Is everything clear?
Yes.
Yeah, we can hear you loud and clear.
Loud and clear, okay. With your mark, I can start.
Okay, give me a moment. No, just go. Okay. Πάμε και ένα full screen.
My God, anxiety. My first time.
Το βάλουμε ένα full.
I'm close to a panic attack. Is it going to work?
Το βάλουμε ένα full.
Ναι, sorry.
Cool. I'm seeing myself in the live streaming.
Nice. Hello, live stream. So, hello, everyone. Let's go, Yannis.
Hello. Hello, everybody, and welcome to this wonderful talk. I hope that we will not get you delayed from the pizza and the beers. This will be a joint talk between a fantastic QA manager from a fintech company and a banker.
Come on, you're not a banker.
Yeah, I'm not. Okay. Stamatis, you want to welcome the crowd?
Yeah. Hello, guys. My name is Konstantinos Loupos, and here is Yannis. So, let's move on to the presentation.
Let us tell you a story first about the first neobank in Greece. I'm going to start with a small video here, and hopefully it can play very well. Nice. So I hope you heard this video. It was our intro video from my first neobank. And first, I'm Ioannis Papadakis, who said Stamatis, and we are going to present you how to streamline QA in the neobank landscape. Fancy title, right? Let's see.
Very fancy, very fancy.
So the agenda will be, I will give you a very quick introduction. I don't want to keep too much of the theoretical parts. We'll see the rise of the neobanks. You all know, as John said, about Revolut, Klarna, and how these neobanks are operating, especially how the engineering teams are operating in this digital era that we have AI all over the place, which is a very tricky buzzword. Very nice presentation, by the way, the previous one. We have trends, frameworks, we're going to see how they are applying to neobanks, and we want to share our snappy story before having any questions in the end. But, first thing first, let's meet the hero of the neobanking.
Thank you for the introduction, Yannis. So, as I said, I'm Konstantinos Loupos. I'm the QA engineering manager at Natec. You may see now two different companies, Snappy and Natec. So, Natec, actually, my company, is the tech provider for Snappy. We actually create the whole app, the infrastructure, and the mobile app. And Snappy is the actual bank. So they have the regulations and the payments, they host these facilitations. And also what they do is that they give us the requirements for what needs to be implemented next. So a little bit about myself. I am born and raised in Thessaloniki, Greece, and I'm very passionate about the evolution of fintech. Actually, I studied at the Applied Informatics Department of University of Macedonia, and now I'm combining both my QA career and also my studies, being in a fintech bank. And I'm passionate about video games and the vintage video game collector. You can see below, that's Hornet. It's a character from a recently published video game, which I, of course, 100% completed it. And you can catch me later if you want to talk about it. I'm a really fan of it. And also, I'm a proud cat dad of 3 furry troublemakers. Below, you can see Simba. He's one of the 3 ones. He's the most silly one, so he got his place at the presentation. So yeah, Yannis, want to talk us about yourself?
Simba should come to the meetup.
We should call him one time, yeah. We should.
So thank you so much. A little bit about myself. I'm working as I'm leading the QA department in the bank. So I'm saying about Snappy. We are going to, if you heard about me, I'm located in Athens, Greece. I hate not being in Thessaloniki. I really love Thessaloniki. I studied like one step ahead of Macedonia. I was studying computer engineering in Aristotle University. So I really have Thessaloniki. It's having a place in my heart. So I love working in everything that touches product and engineering. I'm in love with public speaking the last couple of years, though I'm trying to retire right now and give some new fresh blood of someone who's coming in the picture. I love hiking and fishing. I'm not this little guy. I need to change the slide. If you found me in another conference, I'm always having the same slide and I need to change it. Okay, that's it. So let's go to the first part of this talk. We wanted to start with some of this about usage of a statement, which can be powerful to understand a little bit why quality is, very critical for the digital banking. And we said with quality is the currency of trust in digital banking. And I think this is actually a metaphor which is really powerful because currency is something that everyone understands. It's very valuable. It's essential. And you can understand it's very critical when we are talking about goods or services that we exchange with people. So in this analogy, quality is what customers trade for trust. If the product is buggy or unreliable, users will not buy it. What about you, Thomas?
Yeah, so trust, which is mentioned this phrase, when we are dealing with a Neobank app, trust is everything. It's non-negotiable. So the user must build a strong relationship between the bank and himself, so he can, because as we say, the user puts his real money in it, his real data. So we need to be very careful about it. And where does the QA come in? So the QA needs to build the foundation of this whole relationship. So that's our impact here, Yannis.
Nice. I would say, I would just add to you some ads that it elevates the whole QA role when it comes to, it's not like a back office function anymore. So it's positioning the quality assurance as a strategic pillar when it comes to delivering to business success overall for the digital banking. But why? Let's find out. So first, let's talk about the book.
Yeah. Yeah, so this is a very interesting book. If you haven't read it, it's all about the digital banking revolution. This phenomenon talks about the transition from the traditional systemic banks to actually the neobanks. That's how they're called. So these banks like Revolut, like Snappy, in our case, these are app-centered banks, and these have some features, some specification, as we can see here. So first, they are AI-driven, and they have AI-driven personalization. What does that mean? So they have their own AI models that they actually train with the data of the user, and they create customer-specific experiences inside the app. So every user can have an individual experience inside the app, and this is a very strong thing that we can do with the neobanks. Moving on with the rapid product releases, this is another specification that the new banks have. So in traditional banks, we're talking about maybe once or twice a year with some huge releases. But in our case, in the new banks, we have rapid releases. We talk about weekly releases, monthly releases, and this is where the QA comes in. So QA needs to actually have some trustworthy pipelines that we can actually apply to all these rapid releases so we can maintain the stability of the whole environment. And then we have partnerships with traditional banks. Some of you may know that Snappy is actually co-founded by Natek, my company, and Piraeus Bank. So we actually have close relationships with traditional banks. And this introduces some very great integration systems that we need to actually test. So this is where the QA comes in again. We need to actually have integration tests to actually have these complex scenarios tested, and we can verify them with a huge load of different ways. So Yannis, what about the other ones?
First, I need to say, you are my boss. Everybody understands that.
Stop it, stop it.
So the rest is embedded finance and open banking. So we have APIs, as you said. There are different third-party vendors integrated, so it's a complex end-to-end system. Actually, it's not a system, it's an ecosystem. There are a lot of third-party dependencies that are actually happening in the background to integrate for insurance, investments, for example, loans. So we have a lot of third-party apps, which means that API and contract testing is at the forefront for us, so it's the most secure way and the quicker way, as Tamad said, to make sure we can validate the whole system. Of course, global expansion. These new banks, it's not like traditional banks that are operating in a single country, so we are entering new markets with different or diverse regulatory requirements. You have, for example, compliance to local laws that are different, for example, GDPR or PSD2, or maybe we have different localizations and we need to test against different localizations, so visual testing can be a huge addition here, but we'll talk about the type of testing later. So all these are mobile first and UX-centric, meaning that we need to have the best intuitive mobile experience because the domain is very competitive at the moment. So the QA should be equipped with, we need to emphasize actually usability testing, accessibility or cross-device compatibility. So these are key pillars for us. And at the end we have security. We know that cyber threats are a reality nowadays. Security is a top priority, even if it comes with AI integration with such systems. You have a lot of regulations, so apart from regulation, we need to have a very powerful security penetration testing in place. So QA needs to handle that. Now, let's go to the challenges. Some of the challenges we see here when it comes to new bugs are the speed. So we need to deliver fast. We need to have compliance, so we have different regulatory minefields, let's say, and we need to navigate these minefields very nicely. We have the user experience at the forefront, it's the digital front door for the customers. So, and at the end we have scalability, so we know that we're going to grow, we are talking about thousands or millions of customers. And imagine that you have, they are having millions, hundreds of millions of transactions, especially on a very busy day, like, we can have a Black Friday or Black Monday, I don't know. So you understand that they are actually executing a lot of transactions with our bank. So let's dive a little bit one by one and break it down. Let's say in speed, the impact that the QA has here, which are the challenges that the new banks operate in a tight and competitive space. So we need rapid feature delivery, and why we need it? Because we need to survive the competition. So weekly, I would say also daily sometimes, very frequent releases are very common. So QA was very deeply integrated into the CI/CD pipelines. We are automation first, which is essential. without also suffering or leaving alone the manual testing, because the manual testing, okay, it's the first, let's say, door for us when it comes to validating our feature delivery. Safety-led testing is the mentality we also want to have with our engineering teams. In systemic, traditional advanced, QA are more of a black box entity. Now, right now, we're talking about fintech and actually companies that we are working and operating as a fintech company. So, meaning we want the development and the QA to be aligned all together to catch issues very quickly. Now, the compliance, which is the second one, we need to comply, as I said earlier, to different regulations. So QA needs to know and validate different regulatory workflows. They need to have some experience when it comes to compliance testing and how to trace, let's say, legal requirements, which are different from functional requirements from the test cases. And we need to have test environments that can simulate a real-world compliance scenario, not a production environment. There are very strict things that we are doing when it comes to production. We're talking about pre-prod environments, but in order to test a real end-to-end flow, we need to make sure, in terms of the compliance, that we can make it or mirror the capabilities of the production environment. What about user maps? What do you think about user experience?
So yeah, let's go to user experience, which is a very crucial part in the neobanks and their apps. So the neobanks live and die by their mobile first user experience. A bad experience, a single bad experience, can lead to user dissatisfaction, which is something we need to avoid at all costs. So imagine going to pay, if you're going to pay your bills on a Friday afternoon and your bank app doesn't respond. That's a disaster. So where does the QA come in? The QA impact. The QA must test across multiple devices, OS versions, and screen sizes. Each user has a different type of mobile device, so we need to actually test all those scenarios. Then we go to usability and accessibility validation, which are very crucial, talking about a neobank here, and performance under heavy load. So there are specific time periods, for example, during Christmas, during Black Fridays, or during salary days, where the app is expected to have a huge traffic. So we actually need to have performance testing, and load testing, stress testing, all of these types, so we can actually simulate this heavy load. Let's move on to the next one, which is scalability. Some of you might have seen the aggressive marketing that Snappy has been doing the past month, since we publicly launched. So this translates for us to huge traffic and new users coming in. So actually, we need to have a scalable system, and this can be done and tested by the QA. So we require performance, load, and stress testing, just as the user experience slide before. And the QA must validate horizontal scaling, having more machines, and actually that translates to more users coming in. And data consistency, which will be the same for all users. And then we have microservices and distributed systems, which introduce complex integration testing needs. This is also where the QA comes in with integration testing, and we'll talk about this in a later slide.
Nice. Let's understand a little bit the Neobank ecosystem before driving into the Snappy journey that we want to share with you today. So let's understand what the Neobank is. I think John said that in the beginning, but what's the best is to just play a video and hear from our experts in the live here. Let me play this video for some time.
Very funky video.
We should invite her to talk with us today. So, all right. So, as we said, Neobank is a digital bank, so we're talking about the pure software, let's say, capability with mobile apps and web platforms. We said about the challenges we faced, but let's see a little bit how to build a robust automation framework right now before going to the other topics, which is some challenges that someone will introduce to us. So first, pillars of the QA framework. What we tried to do when we started working in snapping, we wanted to have these 4 pillars integrated in our day-to-day. First was the test strategy, meaning that, you know, it's a blueprint of our QA approach in any company. It's not about the Neobank, but it differentiates a little bit when it comes to compliance and security. So in the testing strategy, we needed to set the objectives, what quality means for the product or the business, the scope, what we test, how we're going to test, or what we are not going to test. So types of testing, the testing pyramid, you all know how this testing pyramid is going to apply to a new landscape, especially when it comes to, you know, to a bank that operates outside of the development, let's say. Test levels, manual versus automated, regression cycles, yada yada. So you have some information how we're going to start. A well-defined strategy aligns all the efforts that we have as a team with the business goals. So we need to ensure that the teams are working directly and together in the understanding they ensure we have a consistency between them. The next thing is the environment, very critical when it comes to the infrastructure. As I said before, it's challenge was to mirror a production environment because we're talking about the public. And we need to be very safe what type of tests we're running when it comes to pumps. So we need to identify first which environment we're going to use. Is it going to be development, QA, control, staging? There are a lot of technologies over there. The data management is the next big thing. If we're going to use synthetic data or we're going to use real data, like real customers. For example, we can have real cards or icons, and how we're going to do the masking of the data in order to be able to perform these tests. Maybe also in production, who knows. Stability and parity means that we have stability in the environment, and the access and the security, we need to have controlled access to this environment. So robust environments for us will reduce false positives and negatives. You always hear about, oh, these tests are flaky, or they are not working with us, or this environment is not working, we need to replace it, I don't care. And there is no, and the trust between development and QA is actually broken, right? And we don't need to, you know, break this trust. And that's why we need to make sure we are choosing wisely when it comes to environments. The tools as well is it's what we want to have in order to ensure that we have maintainable and scalable solutions integrated in the development lifecycle. There are a lot of tools out there. We'll talk about what we picked as Snappy to integrate. And the last one, which is the governance. We don't want to do things that, you know, we are cut off, for example, from the engineering model. We have policies for the QA, coding standards. I know that the AI is great, but we also testing what the AI is delivering for us. So coding standards, real people that understand what the, you know, I think Costa said previously, a good way how to figure out a good prompt. I also did a talk in the past about prompt engineering. So the tester, even if he has to use AI, he needs to understand how to use it. And if he's going to get the output, he needs to validate this output. So we need to have some standards over there. Roles and responsibilities, metrics, audits, a lot of things that the governance will transform the QA within the Neobank from a reactive function to a more proactive quality culture. Now, next it comes to the shift left or right. Are we doing shift left? I mean, this is a topic that I have heard in the past years a lot. I don't remember the history out of it, but everybody wants to do shift left, but they cannot. I think the challenge is here, it's the cultural shift, like shift the culture of your engineering team first. And this is a big trade, let's say, and the whole company needs to understand that it needs to have a mindset change. It's the most difficult part, let's say, for me. It's not about the engineers writing unit tests or integration tests, that's not a problem. Upfront investment, teams may need to invest time and resources, sometimes, but in the end we have reliable results, and this is what we are all wanting, right? Now, the test environment management, which is the next topic, before jumping to the automation area that we have developed internally, I wanted to give some and shed some light about the test environment. We talked about some data masking or some techniques in order to, let's say, understand how we can use and take benefit of these environments. Why do we need this? Because it's especially critical. We said about we have high stakes of financial transactions. We cannot afford something goes wrong in production. Right? So we have real-time services, we have really strict compliance requirements. So what the hell, we need to do something over here. So there are components like sandboxing, data masking and reliability that they are playing their role, and I'm going to describe a little bit about the techniques. So sandbox environment simulate a production-like condition. But at the same time, we isolate sensitive operations. Like, for example, if I'm doing a card transaction, I will do some instant transfer to another bank, let's say. So I want to simulate that, which is a very sensitive information. And for that reason, we are using sandbox environments, even with the third-party vendors or the partners that we are using in the Neobank. So payment gateways, for example, open banking APIs, they are providing a sandbox environment that we will be able to test. Automating or not, that doesn't make a difference. We can do safe experimentation, for example, when I'm testing new features. At the same time, we can test some glitch flows without affecting the live system or our real customers. Regulatory testing, we can do some regulatory testing in this sandbox environment, which is pretty good. So best practices is to use these sandbox environments per partner or third-party vendor to avoid some or any cross-contamination, let's say, ensure data flow simulation that mimics the real-time behavior with our customers, and efficient CI/CD pipelines. Everybody knows that nowadays. In the data masking area, the second one, we need to handle highly sensitive personal and financial data. So these test environments must never expose this data. Imagine that we expose some data from our customers. Oh my God, I can't imagine that really. So there are some techniques over there. We are using static masking. We can replace some sensitive information like IBANs, card numbers, with realistic but fake data. So this is like mocking the actual real data from production. Dynamic masking, which is the other part, is mask this data on the fly when we are running our tests. It's pretty nice as well as technique. And the synthetic data generation, which is create entirely data sets that are artificial. Right? We can use an AI model for that, for example, and we can provide some synthetic data based on some schemas or based on the schema of the database, for example, that we are storing our data. So you can understand masking must be irreversible and auditable at the end of the day. And the reliability, as we said, environment stable, consistent, production live. There are frequent deployments of the backend that may lead to version mismatches. We can have microservices and distributed systems that can cause environment drift. So always use infrastructure as code. I think most of the software companies or the modern software companies, they are using Terraform, how they are deploying their services right now. So we need some standardization on the backend. Implement environment monitoring. You can have New Relic, I don't know, Dynatrace, Grafana, whatever suits your needs, and you can always check and monitor the health of your system and the service labels, of course. Imagine that we have SLAs in place for our customers, and it's really critical here. And that would be all. I tried to be to explain a little bit about these three topics, because the most difficult and challenging part is how do you simulate production like user journeys that has to do with data, financial data, which is really tricky. Let's go to leveraging automation.
Yeah. Thank you, Yannis. You guys now should have a clear view of how the fintech industry works and how the QA actually fits into it. So let's see how we leverage automation in our case. So why did we automate in the first place? Of course, these are the main three reasons we did it. Of course, there are a lot of other ones, but here are the main ones. So firstly, continuous releases demand continuous testing. As we said before, we have rapid releases, weekly releases, sometimes daily releases. So we actually needed to have a pipeline, a QA pipeline, a test pipeline that we can run and automatically get all the results from the test cases. Imagine having to do it manually over and over again. It's a disaster. Compliance and regulation agility. So actually in the fintech world, it evolves very quickly. And the regulations and actually the compliance rules change all the time. So we actually need a way to test it with no human error, so we can actually verify that all these rules take place. And last but not least, we have customer trust at scale. We're scaling very fast. Neobanks actually expect thousands, maybe millions of users. So we actually need to test this whole scalability of the system. So let's go to the types of test automation that can be applied in the fintech apps and actually that we applied in our case. Starting off with API testing, it's the most basic form of testing to actually test that the backend works as expected. This is one of the first ones that we implemented, and we had some test cases at the early stages as a POC to check that actually the automation can fit in our case. Then we go to contract testing, which is a way to implement API testing. So the contract is actually the JSON file that you expect the backend to give. So contract testing, that's how it gets its name. And we actually implemented also some pipelines regarding contract testing. Then we go to performance testing. We actually had a huge collaboration project together with Microsoft to actually test the load that we're expecting before the public launch. We got an approximate amount of users that were coming along. So we actually had to build a huge project. It was based on the API tests that we had also in the API testing pipeline. And we tested them the 6 core scenarios. Maybe we reached about 10 at the end. And we had some very useful insights there. And we actually made some fixes on our backend to facilitate all those issues. Then we go to functional testing. On functional testing, you can see it on the API layer and also on the app. It can be used in both. So actually, this is the way that we can simulate the behavior of the user. And last but not least, we have app testing, which is the last layer of the whole system. It's how the user interacts actually with the whole system. And in our case, we have Android and iOS tests for, of course, for both types of devices, which is needed. So let's talk about, it's a Snappy on the top left corner, it's behind my camera. So let's talk about Snappy's automation journey. At first, we started with manual testing with a small team of 2 people. We actually had to do regression testing on every release. That was before the public launch. And imagine having to do the same task over and over again, testing over 50 scenarios manually. And also, we were required to do this for the new features that were coming in, not only the ones that were happening before. So then, I was hired at the company, and I was assigned to create the automation pipelines for the whole Snappy project. But I didn't know how to start, because there are so many layers in the automation testing that you can start from. So actually, I had to observe the whole system for 1 month. And what I got from it is that I should start with API testing, because most of the issues were caused by the backend, and this is the fastest way that we can test actually the communication of the front-end layer, which is the mobile app, with a backend, which is the mobile API in our case. And actually created the project in Python. using the request library to actually send the API calls. And of course, I used the PyTest to create the testing framework behind it. And also Selenium was used in some cases where we needed to check some more complex scenarios that tested communication with third-party vendors, doing actions in their web forms. So yeah, this was some very complex scenarios that needed also to be implemented. And this is where Yannis came from Snappy. He created also a team of automation testers, and this is where I joined. And we actually had to come up with a holistic solution. So we decided to go with WebDriver IO, which was our testing framework, using TypeScript. And we had an all-in-one solution. We have app testing with Appium, testing both Android and iOS. We had the performance testing with JMeter. This is a project that I talked about with Microsoft that could be triggered ad hoc. And we had functional testing in both API and app layer, using Selenium also for the same cases.
Nice. Let's jump in.
Yeah.
So I think collaboration communications it's a key success for our project. That was nice what someone described. It was about the tools we decided to go. I think we went with the industry standards when it comes to tools. But there is nothing about tools. There is no success over there. We don't have communication with the team. So QA is a team sport nowadays. We wanted to break the silence between QA dev and product teams. We wanted to work together. Testing strategy, as we described earlier, needed to take place early in the development cycle. And we wanted a powerful CI/CD because we didn't have even a single pipeline running tests right now in the beginning or when we launched. But right now we have a very powerful release management that incorporates our tests within this flow. So you know the three because everybody knows that. So we wanted to have this agile practices into QA embedded, and we saw that the software engineering test or a QA engineer can influence the design or the architecture of the system in a terms that we can have a testable environment in the end. So we have also fast architecture and resolution of issues, and this was, let's say, a successful integration within our teams. Let's see the case studies and close up this story.
Yeah.
Let's go with you, Stamat, as the first one.
So now we'll talk about some case studies. This is hands-on experience we got throughout our journey. So let's start with the first one. The challenge was to break the manual regression bottleneck. So as I said before, the repetitive manual regression, doing over and over again the same tasks. The manual regression cycles were time-consuming and repetitive. There was a challenge there. We needed to translate these manual test cases to automation ones. And of course, as all of you know, or some of you may not know, not everything is directly automatable. So the actions that we did in the app manually were not always translated in something that can be done through an automation test. So we actually had to ask for the help of the backend engineers to expose the right database scripts and APIs. So the approach was to build the automation backbone. We successfully mapped the manual test cases to automation ones. So this was a very hard process, and we based it off our test cases that were written manually. We introduced the reusable automation components, like a quick login script, and we enabled the testable endpoints and data flows. This was done in collaboration with the backend team, as I said before. And we prioritized high-value and frequently used scenarios in order to show the impact of the automation very early. So this could be shown to the company and actually bring impacts as fast as possible. So finally, we achieved a 30% reduction in regression time, enabling faster QA sign-offs and release cycles. This was achieved in a very critical period in our company, where you had some new features coming in. They were coming very fast. So actually having an automation pipeline to verify that everything was going well on the background actually was helpful. And now for case study number 2. The challenge was to emulate reality at scale. We had to, when we first started creating the UI tests POC, We had an Android emulator integrated in the CI pipelines, as you can see on the right image there. But some complexities arose during the setup. There was a consistency between the local and cloud configuration. For example, when you created a new test case locally and it passed, that didn't mean that it would pass also in the cloud, because the whole setup of the emulator on the cloud was done manually by the DevOps. So it led some inconsistencies there. There was limited scalability and stable device sessions. As I said, we had to manually set up each different device, so this was not scalable at all. And we had difficulties in maintaining environment parity. For example, some pipelines failed due to failures in the cloud. So this was very unstable. And we needed to come up with a solution, which was to shift to real devices in the cloud. We actually partnered with Lambda Test, which is a third-party provider that actually gives real devices. They host a farm of real devices, and we can access them remotely. And Yannis is an ambassador of Lambda Test, so we got a pretty good deal. Right, Yannis?
Yeah, very few money spent.
Nice. Which is something we want, of course, when we deal with scaling.
You can DM me.
Exactly. So there were some key improvements. We had the zero local setup. Everything was accessible directly on Lambda Test premises. So we had to achieve also scalable parallel execution. We could run more than one test cases in parallel with those multiple devices. We had the persistent test data, which is actually a feature that Lambda Test has, where we can have devices that are exclusive to our company. And we actually, for example, had a test case having saved a contact inside the device, and we could actually test the iris transfer using the contact, which is something we could not do in the first place. And there was seamless integration with our CI/CD. So we just had to set up. Yeah, Yannis?
No, only to add, guys, I think there are other vendors like browsers now. My previous works, I did a very thorough investigation. I think Lambda is what Stamat said is the high level. I'm not pitching about Lambda here or even if we are ambassador, but they have the highest level of quality when it comes to cross-browser or cross-device testing. And it's really, and they are also in favor of supporting communities abroad. So they are doing a lot of webinars, a lot of things. So they are pitching a lot of open source solutions. I think the director of engineers, which I personally know, they are contributors of Apple right now. So there are people that are actually coming from the industry and the community.
Yeah.
And are really very glad.
Yeah, they help us a lot during our journey. And let's go to case study number 3, which was actually the most challenging thing that we did in this whole journey, was actually to test the future. So what do I mean by that? Pay Later is a service that Snappy gives. Some of you may know Klarna. So when you need to buy something, you can buy it in 4 installments without any added interest. So we actually had to test this whole scenario, this whole business scenario. And of course, traditional test cases cannot simulate these time-dependent scenarios because you actually need to simulate time progression, which cannot be done easily. So we had to orchestrate date manipulation and cron job reprogramming. This needed to be communicated with our backend teams and actually come up with a solution. And business logic was hard to replicate. Imagine having a test case with 20 different steps. It was very complex, and actually you needed to know the image of the system at every step. So, actually, we achieved to build a time simulation framework. We built the time travel tests, which is the buzzword going around in Snappy. And so, yeah, hopefully not. We refactored cron-based backend jobs into callable APIs. That was achieved by establishing a co-engineering workflow with the backend teams. We actually had to explain them deeply how the business case works and actually what are the steps required for each test case. And this way, we ensure the deterministic runs, decoupled dependencies, and strong observability. And the test cases, in the end, you could see in this whole complex scenarios, in every step, what is the image of the system. So yeah, we did it.
Yeah, so lessons learned to wrap up. I know that everybody's taking the pizza. I don't know which pizza though. There are a lot of pizzas, Giannis.
Yes, yes.
Margaritas, special. I need to buy one here in my house. So, lessons learned. Automation skills and collaboration skills. Nothing would be done if we didn't have collaboration with our teams, with our engineering teams first, and with our product teams subsequently. So, and the automation, when it comes to automation, there are different tones of different layers we describe. It's not about one functional or one UI. We're trying to follow as much as possible the rule of the best testing pyramid. Environment consistency drives trust and results. We saw that mocking backend or mocking third-party vendors or masking data, this is the good way to move forward in order to reduce the flagginess and the ever-ending problem that we have with unreliable results. Continuous improvement is part of QA culture. This is the final, let's say, lesson that we learned. This information, it's not one-time project. I would say QA is not one-time project. It's continuous evolution. We saw now Agentic AI previously from the nice talk we observed. It's like transforming. It's like transforming our work, right? And this is the way. This is the next chapter, let's say,
yep.
for our work. But without, let's say, destroying the previous chapters for our work, right? I don't know, Stamatis, if you want any last points?
Yeah, so this is our journey, and we'll continue, of course, with it, and hopefully we'll have a new presentation with more lessons learned.
Okay, we have our barcodes here. Stamatis, tell us, he is the key player, he is the star. I'm just following.
Thank you, thank you.
Here, just facilitating, and our emails, you can find our LinkedIn profiles. Or of course, you can join our team. We are having open positions. You can scan the barcode, apply. We'd love to hear about you. We need to embrace together the vision, and who knows, maybe you are our next person to work with. That's it. I don't know if you have questions, or we can skip it and go to it.
Yeah, one question. Thank you, thank you.
You mentioned you collaborated with Microsoft during the performance process. Yes. Can you share with us what was their entry? What did they
So actually we collaborated because the team of automation was really small when we started this, and we actually needed to go live. So we actually partnered with Microsoft to actually create the performance testing project. It was based off on our test cases. We just gave them the steps that they needed to follow, and the API calls and everything, the requests, everything they need to follow. And they actually implemented this into a JMeter project. And then we took this and we scaled it with our numbers and did the stress testing, load testing, so we could prepare the backend for the new release, because the system was not tested until then for the traffic that was going in. So we actually needed to do this whole project. Anyone else? Yes? Actually, we were required in some cases to test in production, but due to the sensitive data that we need to have, we have not completed the whole, we have a POC, but we actually do not follow those test cases, and we do not apply them in our runs yet, but it will come.
I wanted to add here, I don't know if I'm hearing, but running in production, in my experience, needs to also come to do with how you are deploying. So if you are having canary releases or green deployments in production, production, it can help us all. This is a way that we need to move forward with our infrastructure team. This is our DevOps team, and we need to work together on that. It's not like a QA initiative. You know, this is what I have found, you know, up until now. The best approach is, even if you cannot have canary releases, you can have like a mirror or an in-demand environment. Especially if this environment is something you can scale from production. You know, bringing a new production environment, a replica, is very insufficient right now. It's very, not time-consuming, it's very costly actually for the companies. And imagine for the bank, it's not about just bring your bank up in speed. You need to have the core banking or different vendors that are actually processing transactional data, financial transactional data. So this is very challenging. And I think it's maybe it's when we deliver something like this would be a topic to discuss in the future.
Yeah. Yeah, question?
You talked about
I can't hear you, maybe.
you talked a bit about pipelines.
Yes.
You're using something like CI/CD continuous testing.
Yes. Yes.
Are the pipelines linked from the developer's perspective to your pipelines also? Is it one unique pipeline for the deployment and testing together?
So actually, we have we are hosted in Azure, and we have our own CI/CD pipelines there. Actually, we have implemented when there is a new release in the UAT, automatically our testing pipeline gets triggered with a new environment or the new app that gets released. So we actually have a continuous testing workflow there. And we actually review the test cases and go back with the results, and this continuous process.
I have also a question about the timing that you mentioned about the travel line, because I know
You can ask Stavardis after.
Yeah, it's okay, sure.
Okay.
Because we are hungry, nothing there.
I'm hungry, I'm also hungry.
No pizza for you, no pizza for you.
So we need to do also the raffle. That's right. We need to do also the raffle about the tickets, right?
Okay.
Okay. And we have also Yanis. How many tickets about DevCon Romania?
Yeah, DevCon Romania guys, they are giving me around 5 to 7 tickets. We can spare.
Okay.
Like maybe 7 tickets. Yeah. So please.
We'll do 5.
Please, you can do 7.
Okay, whatever.
Or we can do more. I mean, it's coming like after 2 weeks, but I will enjoy seeing, you know, anyone there.
Yeah. So thank you, Yanis, virtually. We are about to close the stream right now and do the raffle, okay? Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.